What up, random rockers? I know today's a different Friday. I should probably be talking about something that's come out today. But just life happens, man. Also, the Burn Pit channel, you should check that out too. I might leave a link in the description. I'm not sure on that part, but I'm going to talk about some albums from last week that I've been kind of sitting on, amongst a bunch of other albums, but mostly the ones from last week. Starting with Welcome to Club 13, Drive-By Truckers. Yeah, technically this is alt country, sort of southern rock style, sort of country punk, maybe punkabilly or psychobilly, maybe sort of sound. And yeah, I've known about this band for years, even dating back to my high school years, but never for some reason been able to get into them, or at least had a chance to properly, I guess, for an album. And what I could tell you from this album, I like what I hear enough that I will probably try to check out the albums most people would prefer. So I would like to suggest, if anyone who is a Drive-By Truckers fan, to tell me what albums I should be listening to from this point that are probably better than this record, from there, more likely from around the late 90s to the 2000s. But yeah, so far the tracks, I do like this opening track here, The Driver, a little bit. I wouldn't say it's the strongest thing. I really like the follow-up, Maria's Awful Disclosures. Pine's okay. I think I like We Will Never Wake You Up in the Morning a little bit. I wasn't really that fond of the title track all that much. It's, I guess, okay. Meh. Forged in Hell and Heaven Sent featuring Margot Price. Yeah. It was fine, but for me, I think the highlight of this record was the second single, Every Single Storied Flame Out. Lyrically and the music of it itself, I enjoy a lot. Billy Ringo Dirk's okay. I was expecting Wilder Days to be a little heavier, but I understand it being not so much, and I guess one of their more mature tracks, I guess, from what I can tell. But surprisingly, I mean, not bad. I don't know if I'll go. I mean, there are other things I'll probably wind up going to more than this record, but I'd say for something of the more country rock, southern rock, cowpunk, alternative country variety, not bad. Not bad. Excuse me. At least not to me, at least. Some people are like, oh, this is just, And plus, hearing that Welcome to Club 13 itself, the title track, was already a song they had already performed live, and so it's possible some of this stuff is stuff they're finally putting out into the ethers in studio form. I don't know. But I like this enough, I guess, that at the very least I'll give a light thumbs up, And I guess I could have started with something worse. Granted, probably should have with something better, but you know what? Light thumbs up. If I ever get a chance to deep dive into these guys, I'd still love recommendations, so just, let me know. But yeah, Drive-By Truckers has got my attention. We'll see what happens, and I don't know if it's going to be I don't know if the follow-up's going to be any good, but, we'll see. This will be the later career era thing. I don't know, this album didn't make me yawn. No, I'm just tired in general. It was a rough day, too, and, what helps with rough days when you need to take out some aggression? You go to this album, which is Temple of Void, Summoning the Slayer. I guess this is their 4th or something studio album, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I heard they're like more previous. I've yet to get into Death Doom. This is one of those more current bands I hear that are up there, like with the likes of Hooded Menace, which for some reason I just couldn't draw myself to. And plus, the last time I tried Death Doom was, well, unfortunately, early Catatonia. While I was trying to find a way to get into them for an album that I never really had a chance to review because I just couldn't get into them. So I've been looking for an excuse to find something decent from for the genre that is Death Doom, and well, I guess you couldn't have found a bad start with this, that's for sure. But I'm told, but from what I hear, it's that this album is great, though not as master class level as apparently the last. And I'm curious about that now after having heard this thing. So yeah. Death. Everyone talks up Engulfed, and she's pretty good. I like this opening track. Some people talk up A Sequence of Rot, which is pretty solid too. Transcending Horror, pretty much one of the last ones, and I'm fine with this Dissolution track, but I think they tried to be a little too much like Black Sabbath's particular Planet Caravan, not so much the Pantera Planet Caravan necessarily. So and plus the way the vocals just come off to me is so, but musically I actually like it, and I give Opethy vibes a little bit, just a little bit. There's, I guess, some moments where I feel it does get a little bastard-y. Although I hear that this is one of the more easier to digest records anyway, and more accessible ones, at least for Death Doom apparently. So I'd say kind of sort of made me interested in this band for someone who hasn't been into Death Doom. And this, yeah, I think I'm finally found something that works for me. Though I hear their earlier records were better. The self-title's pretty good. From some people. Yeah. But overall, yeah, I'd say this, you know what? High thumbs up, on the low end, horns up, you know? Not quite masterclass, I would say, but it's got my attention. And all that sort. So yeah, I'll give that album a shot. I know my yawning don't help, but seriously, it's worth being that it was hard to get into Death Doom for a while, I needed something that could. This was definitely good, and thanks to Metal Meltdown for this, and thanks to Rocked for this suggestion that I didn't know about until now, and that is Heroin by Thornhill. Basically, just like Loathe, another Deftones infused metalcore band. Now, I don't know if that's going to become a trend or not now, but hopefully not to the point where it gets overdone. But I think Thornhill, like Loathe, has managed to do pretty good in impressing me a little bit. And I feel like they really went for it a little more. The open title track's pretty good. Leather Wings is fine. Blue Velvet's okay. I'm fine with Archangel. Valentine is probably the weakest to me, or at least it feels like it. But luckily the track Casanova comes in, and hell, and I was saying this, I don't like Valentine, and that's an actual track, and I'm preferring a segue track in Something Terrible Came with the Rain over this song. That's how much I don't like Valentine on this thing. But Casanova is just, Good. Hollywood's pretty good. Raw's not bad. Varsity Hills and Heroin do okay for being both clocking in at 5 minutes, those two tracks, but like Casanova really is definitely one that really caught my attention and had a very industrial sort of feel to it, you know, that does allow it to try to switch it up a bit. But yeah, overall, yeah, if you like if you want more Deftones inspired metalcore, and you know, you weren't, for some reason you want it, that's, you know, the more Diamond Eyes Konoyoken era Deftones infused sort of metalcore type of metalcore. Besides Loathe at this point, I feel like this album should definitely, besides what Loathe did on their last album, that's not the ambient one, but even though the ambient one's pretty good, this being Thornhill's second record, this doesn't sound like a sophomore slump. I don't know if they wound up doing like Loathe did and didn't start out doing that same thing, and then they wound up going that route and it just clearly worked for them. I mean, if you like that from Deftones, you will definitely like this, especially the more Konoyoken thing. Definitely this record will, yeah, it's, I understand why Rock gave it 8 out of 10. Definitely horns up a bit on that one. But for some reason, I wouldn't say it's my favorite album necessarily that I've listened to. And in fact, it's from a band that's been, to me, quite consistent. In the sense they know what they are, they know what their audience wants, and they deliver. Heck, in fact, it was upon listening to this while trying to pick up a friend, my friend being the Burn Pit co-host, I think I may have made a fan of him upon trying to listen to this album. And that album is Radiant Bloom by Astronoid. I feel like flying. Whee! Or you can, like, that was a lot of what I feel like, or like you can like compare, like play some of this stuff while like I think of the scenes with Goku and Gohan flying around on Cloud Nimbus and having their little fun and Wii and stuff. Yeah, this music works with that. Well, you could probably play Smash Brothers. This is a chill band. Anthony Green, I would currently in that's been in Samuelson now, was originally, now he still kind of is, I guess, now. And I'm forgetting the other band he became more famous for. Please help me in the comments, please, for the love of God. This is, it's bothering me. I can't believe I'm forgetting it. But yeah, I think that more reverb soaked, which really adds to the atmospheres. And this time they started doing clearly more synthesized stuff, and they're on 3 Dot Recordings, which is, I believe, the current label of which Periphery is now on as of P4. P5's in the works, by the way. Looking forward to that whenever that happens. Fingers crossed it's better than P4. For the love of God. Even though I liked it, it's probably more than P1, so that's neither here nor there. I'd say I enjoy this record. I want to say I enjoy it just a little bit more than the last. I feel like they were trying to balance out a little bit there. Plus, I'm starting to think they're running out of major chords to do to make themselves sound super happy, because they're starting to bring in a little more minor chords. But Or at least they're still trying to work on turning some minor chords to sound happy. And it makes it work, because this is some very happy chill metal. It's musically, technically black metal, but it's more, they're post-metal. This is their third album. Their style kind of comes, they've been considered as dream thrash, which is essentially an acronym towards the genre of dream pop and thrash metal, which isn't an inaccurate statement as far as how this band is, but I do understand it being considered more and they have their more post-hardcore moments like this as well, you know, with Eyes and stuff like that, which I wasn't too sure with it. Human, I think, was a good single. Decades isn't a bad long one, but they just don't feel too long. Like, this album is a breeze. And it's very much a band that captures this very retrospective feeling, like looking up, or while going on a brisk walk, while it's like early morning, sort of late at night, and you're just in a very retrospective mood, just sometimes just looking at the day sky. It's one of those bands, and I feel it's probably one of the few bands I might be able to kind of sort of not feel bad about trying to recommend to even my nieces and nephew, to be like, this sounds nice. And I'll be like, yes it does. Yes it does. But yeah, I want to say I like this album more. I get if, like, at this point it seems they might be considered having to deal with, I mean, the problem being they're kind of still this specific kind of band, but though yes, they experiment a little bit, but luckily they didn't go too, and they have a slightly better choice of production, I think, or at least I feel it's a step up a little bit from the last one, and plus the vocals, I think, come off a lot better here for the most part, as opposed to the last record, just a little bit. I wouldn't say it's, I guess you could say the first, Air was like their first album introduction was Air. I still like Astronoids, but I still like the last record, despite being one of those self-titled that isn't their debut. But if it was the first time you listened to them and you didn't know it wasn't a debut, I don't know if it would have hurt you. And this album just kind of, like, you could start on any of these albums from this band and still, like, just enjoy yourself, man. Just feel like you can enjoy life, or at least try to, despite the bullshit, it's just nice. It's just nice. If you haven't figured it out already, horns up. Probably still gonna make. I'm not expecting it to be the album of the year, but like I've so happened to have had for the past couple times I've listened to these albums. Yeah. I don't know if I could say I like it better than Air necessarily. Maybe from production standpoint, probably, but, and I guess I don't mind the synth stuff. That they probably needed to add that in, to add some extra, something new in texture to what they were already doing with their particular very ambient style, just very extremely atmospheric ambient style of, sort of blackened shoegaze sort of style musically, I guess, but it's way more, I mean, the Dream Thrash makes more sense as being a more stripped down version of what is blackened shoegaze, I guess. either way, I just enjoyed this thing. I get if it's still somehow not for other people, but it's just hell. Even the people who are like, I don't know, and I normally don't, do the. But you could probably do that and have a good trip with this and any album they've made. So, and this is just no different in that regard. It's a problem. They may suffer from the problem of being sort of samey, but in their case, it's sort of in an AC/DC-ish sort of way, and Dinosaur Jr.'s sort of way of being a good problem to have that people will still come to you for. At least that's what I feel like this band is starting to become a little bit. But at least they're doing some little subtle things to kind of try to switch it up. Like the synthesizers were just something I never expect. But it blended well. It still added into the atmosphere that the band is known to bring about. And it didn't take away from anything. Some of the songs did get a little darker in places, but it wasn't... But it still felt like... But it didn't take away from the atmosphere they were building and have been building for the past couple records. So... Yeah, just horns up. Just, if you guys haven't checked this guy out, please, do yourself a favor. And, you could start here. You could start with Air. You could start with the self-titled. But so far, this band has just kept delivering on being the type of band that they are and being one of the easier albums to recommend to people who are non-metal fans, and that's why I even appreciate this even more, because somehow it counts as metal, even though you could kind of tell it don't really sound as much like it. But I think that's a good thing. You need more bands like this, to just, make your day better. What did you guys think of these albums? What did you guys think? What did you guys think of these albums? Leave a comment below. Let me know. Let me know. Links in the description to all my socials and all the other rigamadoos and so on and so forth. If you like this video, rock that like button with thrust if you must. Hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell, all the other rigamadoos and whatnot, and as always, guys, keep it random, keep it keep it rocking. I will see you in the next video. Take care, y'all.